Okay guys, this is my third video of random records I just pick at random. I'm going to start with Eddie Cochran, Greatest Hits. This has Summertime Blues, Long Tall Sally, a lot of the stuff he did. Of course, Summertime Blues is his greatest hit. He also has a cover of Blue Suede Shoes by Carl Perkins. 20 Flight Rock was his. This is an American pressing of Eddie Cochran. This is a pretty beautiful, I love this one. This one is by the R&B group back in the day, the Orioles. These guys were in the 50s. They had songs like At Night, It's Too Soon to Know, Baby Please Don't Go. They recorded, most of this is recorded in the late 40s, early 50s. This is the greatest hits though, by the Orioles. The Jubilee recordings from 48 to 54. It's on Murray Hill Records. Actually, Crying in the Chapel, of course. Huge hit. The Orioles sing their greatest hits. Then I like this one because he's a neurotic Jew, like me, Jewish and neurotic. So we both share one thing in common. And I think you guys might know him as a clarinet player. Some of you might know him as a movie director. And yes, he did release this Recipe album back in the early '60s. Good old Woody Allen, my friends. There he is. Baked wild rice. Okay. On to a pretty cool compilation of blues with Muddy Waters, Lola Fulton, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry. This one's called America's Roots Musical. Music is very good. Cover is a pretty nice cover too. Well, speaking of nice covers, my favorite artist, painter, whatever you want to say about him. This is a band, the James Gang Band, and this is Salvador Dali's Birth of a Geopoliticus Man. I'm assuming that they had to pay him because this was from the early 70s, and the man had painted this, I think, in the 40s or 50s. The cover is beautiful. Salvador Dali painting. The music is pretty good classic rock by the James Gang, Newborn. Next one of the glam bands, if you want to call it metal, glam, whatever of the time. Still around though. Pretty good group, spawned off of Guns N' Roses. Is their first album, first pressing of LA Guns. You can see this is just random stuff I picked. Has nothing to do with music, just picked it from the stacks. This is one of a great British band, and this to me is one of my favorite albums actually because it's moody, maybe you can call it a little psychedelic at times. Is XTC's Skylarking. Soundtracks. Yep, this one is from One Step Beyond on Decca. That's the first press. One Step Beyond, the cover is so cool. From the Alcoa TV series, Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Harry Lubin. One Step Beyond. Reminds me of the song by Madness called One Step Beyond. The cover I like that psychedelic eerie type. One Step Beyond. Now, I don't know if I ever showed this double album of 50s rock and roll hits. The Orioles are here too. Righteous Brothers, Dick Clark's 20 Years of Rock and Roll. It's a double album, a gatefold. This one does include the pretty interesting, cool booklet of Dick Clark's 20 Years of Rock and Roll, where it talks about a lot of that rock and roll. You can see the pictures of it. Talks about his American Bandstand series from 53 to 72, 73. Now comes one very near and dear to my heart. This was the first record I ever got. Actually, it was bought by my father back in the 70s in New York. This was bought at a comic book convention when we went into Manhattan to the Waldorf Astoria. This is, you've probably seen this. Some people have this. It's a double album. It's those typical Spider-Man comic books that people would actually listen to, and it was a story. This was Spider-Man, a raw comic on Buddha Records. This, to me, is my dearest album of all that I have, all the 1,500 that I have. Doesn't care if it's the value monetarily is nothing to me. I wouldn't trade it for any of the ones I have or I've shown. And that's still in pretty good shape. I listen to it still a lot of times. It brings me back good memories when I was a kid. And yes, I'm definitely Spidey fan to this day. Yeah, this one has been shown a lot. It's the first pressing, and it just came out. It's the Kingsman on wand with Louie. You know, Seattle, and these guys started it with their song that you could barely understand, that sea shanty they were singing about. Pretty cool. Then these are a couple of Canadian rock and roll promotion. This has My Bonnie by the Beatles, Only You by the Platters, Shaboom by the Crew Cuts, Wooly Bully by Sam the Sham, Grease Lightning. The cover is neat. I love that 50s cover in the back. The guy and the chick. Another one, also Canadian, double album. This one's really good. This one has Wild Thing by the Trogs. It has them by Los Bravos, Back in Black, the first group from Spain to have a #1 hit in the U.S. and in England. I Want Candy, 96 Tears. It has also Pushing Too Hard by the Seeds, Magic Carpet Ride, Dirty Water by the Standells. It has Psychotic Reaction in the Count 5, Human Beings, Nobody But Me. Yeah, the cover too is beautiful. 2 albums. And now I've changed, because I don't only have rock and roll. I have a little bit of everything in my collection. I'd say mostly rock and roll, but I have some jazz. This one is Chicory and Friends, and it's a promo, actually. It's got good songs, but what I love about it is the cover with the Smurfs playing the instruments. That one's a nice one. I like that a lot. One more that I'm going to show in this video is by a group called Nantucket. This was their first album. It's a promo. You know, came out in the mid to late 70s, called just Nantucket. It's got the lobster there. I like that cover. As you can see, it is a promo. It's got the demo there, and it's a good classic rock album. Okay, guys, that was my... oh, one more. A reissue of the Wham! Of that Memphis Man, Lonnie Mac. This reissue came out in the 80s, mid-80s, of Lonnie Mac's album. Stevie Ray Vaughan helped revive his career somewhat in the 80s. Here's a picture of him in the mid-80s. He's got his Flying V there. It's a reissue. The original album came out in 62, 63. So that was my #3 video of Random Records. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day, guys.